Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of For Fact's Sake, the podcast where we take a random topic and Google the facts.
So you don't have to.
Shout out to the mother factor out there who gave us her slogan. I forget her name. I don't know who she is. But in the early days, she was like, you got to listen to this podcast. They Google the facts so you don't have to. And it's like, thank you.
Eddie just literally looked like he picked something up, you guys. Welcome back to another episode. We got so many compliments on witchcraft, by the way.
Dude, the last episode, Witchcraft. If you haven't listened to it, go back, listen. It was one of our wilder ones. I feel like we've really tapped into some interesting groups, like either QAnon or the conspiracy ones, or those ones seem to be really popular.
Thank
but the
God
witch
they didn't
one,
come get us.
I know, right?
Scientology and QAnon, I knew we were getting canceled. If I woke up and our feed was deleted, I was gonna be like, oh, duh.
Dude, I forgot about the Scientology one. I'm afraid one day Tom Cruise is sitting back with sunglasses on a patio, being like, "What? Cancel them? No, Tom, don't cancel me, Tom. I need this.
They've got to go."
But to all the mother factor witches out there, please give us a spell where this podcast takes off even further than it already has.
Yeah, blow us up, bitch. But anyway, we are doing weed today, and I saw some reviews like, Wheezy, get high. My weed dealer, I'm hoping he didn't get arrested, but I cannot get in touch with that motherfucker. I don't know where he's at.
Weed dealer? What do you mean weed dealer?
I live in the state of New York.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. It's not like LA where it's like they're like fucking Dunkin' Donuts out here. It's like everywhere.
Dude, it's insane. It's funny when you think about it that way. Like literally there's some squiggly lines on a map. And in one place you can go to jail, in one place you get a high five. So basically, I couldn't get in touch with my weed dealer, and I didn't get to get high for this episode. I found a little bit of nugget of weed. Do you know what a roach is, Eddie?
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's that little end of the weed, and you with a little clip, and you.
Yeah. Basically, you have to damn near get your tweezers to fucking smoke out of a roach. So I'm not really high, but I want you guys to know I have smoked so much in my life that I, honest to God, feel like it can come out at any moment.
Wow. You know what? Me and you are this is the perfect duo, not just for the podcast world, but for this topic, because you smoke a lot of weed and I don't smoke.
He was about to say, Eddie's about to say, you do a lot of drugs. That's what Eddie was about to say.
You're popping pills, you're popping your booty, you're doing a lot of things that I'm not doing. But I don't do anything. I don't do weed at all. Last time I smoked weed, I was like 19 and I hallucinated and went nuts.
I would love to get high together, but I will tell you, Eddie, I am not someone that gets high very well. I don't know if I told this story on both of these podcasts that I have, but I ended up getting so high that I like threw up and shit my brains out for like 2 days. Come to find out, I fucking cannabinoid.
I just picture you on the ground, like, all my holes are going.
You guys don't even understand. Like when I threw up, you know how you're contracting your muscle? I would start shitting. I had to sit on the toilet with a fucking trash can in front of me.
Wow. All I'm saying,
all from getting too high.
You got to admit though, that after that night, when you looked in the mirror and you looked at your body, you're like, fuck yeah.
Oh my God. I had a photo shoot the next day. I was like, oh God. Okay, let's go.
This is why models do this.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys what cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome is and all of that stuff once we get into our rundown. But our rundown this week is actually my first fact because there is so much about weed that I really feel like it would take too long. So here we go.
Okay, do it.
What is weed? What is cannabis? What the fuck?
Wow.
Cannabis is also known as marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst other names, it is a psychoactive drug from a plant primarily used for medical and recreational purposes. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when I was younger, I thought cannabis and weed were something else. I don't know why. I know I sound dumb, but I was like, well, I've never had cannabis, but I've smoked a little weed. But
you think it's like the difference between like wine and beer? You know what I mean? Like, cannabis sounds like it's fancy, but weed, I mean, that's the people's drug.
It does sound like that. Yeah. But it's actually a plant that's considered a flower because of the way that it sprouts. And It has various mental and physical effects, which include euphoria, altered states of mind, sense of time, difficulty concentrating, impaired short-term memory, body movement, relaxation, and an increase in appetite. The onset of the effects is felt within minutes when you smoke it and about 30 to 60 minutes when you cook or eat it. I don't really know if this is necessarily true. because I've felt weed hours later after consuming it. But the effects they say last for about 2 to 6 hours, depending on how much you have. And at high doses, it can include anxiety, delusion, hallucinations, panic, paranoia, and psychosis.
Wow.
There is a strong relation to cannabis and psychosis and the risk. Though the direction of it is debated because the physical effects include heart rate going up, difficulty breathing, nausea, behavioral problems, things like that. But generally speaking, cannabis is one of the safest drugs in the world. And although this point is argued because of the context, nobody has actually ever died from cannabis use.
I saw that stat. I saw nobody in the history of it.
Right. But what's interesting is that people will say, well, you can get too high and get a DUI or, driving under the influence of marijuana consumption or something like that. So that's possible, but you can't actually die from using weed, right? No. Now, how do people use it? Well, you can smoke it in a hand-rolled cigarette called joints, in pipes and water pipes, also known as bongs, or blunts. It could be used to brew tea, particularly when it's sold or consumed for medicinal purposes. It's normally mixed into food, brownies, cookies, candies. And vaporizers are also becoming very popular because it's a lot easier to use. And I guess with the oil, like you can't really smell it as much as you can when you're smoking actual.
It's more convenient for sure. You just like put it back in your pocket.
Now, what's interesting is that I feel like there's so many different acronyms, right, with weed. And we'll hear about THC being legal, but CBD is not, or what? I mean, or CBD is legal, but THC isn't. So here's the stuff. THC is the main psychoactive compound, and it's what makes you get high. It's that state of euphoria, which is illegal here in New York State. CBD, however, is legal because it's non-psychoactive. It doesn't cause a high, but you get their pain reduction, reducing nausea, preventing seizures, and you can ease your migraines. There's also something called CBN. Have you ever heard this?
No, I don't know. I mean, these all sound like news networks to me. I saw Trump talk on CBD. I saw Biden talk on CNN.
Now Trump talks on COKE. That's what I seen him talk on. Now,
nice.
Now, CBN is cannabinoid, and this is what's used to help epilepsy and seizures. And have you ever seen the tinctures when they'll drop it in someone's mouth who's having a seizure?
Yes, I've seen that before.
That's apparently CBN. There's some other stuff that's kind of whatever, but the strains that I want to talk about, we hear all the time. Well, I don't know if you do, Eddie, but people talk about sativa and they talk about indica. And basically my dealer, every time he get me weed, he's like, what kind do you want? You want sativa? You want indica? And I always forget because one makes you go up and one makes you go down, right?
Right, okay.
And so I have to literally say indica means in the couch. So I know it's the one that makes me fucking tired. Like, so what do these things mean? Well, a sativa in depth means is made in a hot or dry climate, and it's primarily used to stimulate. So you can use sativa in the daytime. A lot of people that wake and bake will use a sativa. It's a mind high or an energizing, anxiety reducing effect. So if something is sativa dominant, you'll feel a little bit productive instead of sleepy. And the indica is generally for intense relaxation, to help reduce nausea and pain, whatever. Now, there's some other stuff that could be used with marijuana or from marijuana. It's something called kief, KIEF. And it's a crystal that's formulated when the container of weed, or like basically like when the oils like crystallize themselves, like dry cannabis. So the day that I threw up and shit myself, I smoked a joint dipped in kief, wrapped around with hash oil. Now, my weed dealer knew I was depressed, and I was like, I need something strong. I need to knock the fuck out. And he was like, okay. So I smoked the entire thing. Did he tell me I could only take one hit? No.
What? Only one? You can only take one hit?
He told me 1 to 2. He told me when he took 4 that he started seeing his own aura. So Had a cannabis overdose.
What happened?
Dude, I literally knocked out. Like I smoked it, knocked out, right? Like immediately. But when I woke up, it was about 2 a.m. I smoked around 10 p.m. I couldn't even orient myself. Like I thought I was left, right. I didn't know where I was. I was spinning everywhere. I had to run to the toilet, throwing up like crazy for hours and hours and hours. Like I'm just drained from everything. So I was like, maybe it was laced. But like I've been going to this guy for a minute and I know him. Like I'm like, there's no way he would lace it. And then Googled it, and it turns out like you actually can have an overdose of marijuana, but you won't necessarily die from it. Your body just has to like eject it. And
Whoa.
so,
Did you
mhm.
call your dealer and be like, hey, man, I've been puking and shitting all night? And he goes, forgot about your depression, though, didn't you? He's like, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yo, I made him feel so bad. I talked to him on Signal. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went to the hospital just to get like a banana bag. Banana bag is basically an IV, and it gives you
Right.
potassium and puts all the electrolytes in.
God, you know all the slang. You just walk in there with like a robe on, like, give me the banana bag, and just like fucking lie down. It's like, she's here
I mean, I
again.
was quick. I just was honest. I was like, look, I got too high. I gotta get out.
Dude.
I didn't go till the next day though. Like I did a whole photo shoot and everything and realized I need it. But I hit him up. I was like, look, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I said, because maybe this could get you more sales. But I went to the fucking hospital. And he's like, how much did you have? I was like, well, I had the fucking joint you gave me. And he's like, dude, I can't even have like a quarter of that without getting fucked up.
These dealers need to give like a little like legend at the bottom of like a little card. This is what you can do with this thing. You can smoke one here. If you're this weight, do this much. If you haven't had a meal, do this. Don't do
That's why we
this.
need dispensaries, because they be telling you shit like that. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? He ain't got no
Yeah.
marketing. He don't fucking put no sticker on the
Yeah.
shit. He's just like, look, the blue one I gave you, that's gonna get you fucked up. And the pink one I gave you, that's gonna make you go to sleep. How am I supposed to remember this shit?
Dude, like it's like it needs to be like the Apple store, like it is in LA. You walk in, everything's nice and clean. You walk in like, hey, I'd like something that's gonna not trip me out crazy, but I want to like feel relaxed. Like, oh, I suggest this purple haze, and you're like, oh wow, is it good? I'm on it right now. I don't know where I am. Oh, nice. Okay.
What?
Thank you. I'll take that. Like you need
Eddie,
like a
okay,
genius
okay, okay,
bar
okay.
guy.
Keep it real.